Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to the first and foremost podcast with your host. I'm Jimmy Covington.
I am the one and only Quinton Douglas.
And we back at it again with episode 17, y'all. Quinton, how you doing, bro?
Doing pretty good, bro. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, bro. I just been chilling. Man.
Me too, just relaxing.
Man,
Cool.
but listen, we got a lot to get to today, y'all. So, Quinton, let's go ahead and pop it off, bro.
Let's do it.
All right, so just last week, we got the earth-shattering news that Patrick Mahomes signed a 12-year, $503 million extension, Quinton. What are your thoughts on that contract? Was it too much? Was it just enough? What are your thoughts on it?
Man, for one, I think it was definitely well-deserving. Shout out Patrick Mahomes. He is clearly the most talented and best quarterback in the NFL. So I definitely think he deserved that money. He's lived up to the hype from the, first game he started. And, he's already got the accolades, the MVP, the Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl MVP. He brought that franchise their first ring in 50, 60 years. So, man, that alone, he's already probably made back the money that he's going to be getting dished out in his contract. But I think the thing that did surprise me, we really haven't seen an extension that long, if I'm not mistaken, since was it Michael Vick back in
Donovan
04?
McNabb.
Oh, McNabb. Okay, McNabb.
12-year deal,
Okay.
ironically.
Man, crazy. I didn't think we'd ever see something like that again. But with his talent level, I'm not surprised that they want to lock him up for such a long period of time. You could even argue, like I said, with what he's done, that he's even underpaid. So that'll probably definitely, be restructured in a few years for him to be compensated properly. But by looking, between the lines, he'll probably, definitely get more MVPs. That's no doubt. He'll have the Pro Bowls, the touchdowns, etc. But I don't see Patrick Mahomes winning more than one more Super Bowl. Uh, you know, like I said, he'll get the individual recognition, but too many factors for me just going to winning a Super Bowl, especially back to back. I definitely don't think they're repeating as champions next year. Even looking at the playoffs this year, the Chiefs found themselves down double digits against both the Texans. I believe it was 24-0. And then they were down by 10 to the 49ers in the fourth quarter. Even looking at history, the guys who've won, the most Super Bowl rings, Brady with 6. You have to look at, he's had Belichick his entire career up until now with the Buccaneers. Then he's played in, the NFL's worst division. The AFC is definitely nowhere near as bad as the AFC East. Brady's also had a lot of luck. You got the Tuck Rule game back against the Raiders. That could have went either way. You got the 28-3 comeback in the Super Bowl against the Falcons. And then even the Malcolm Butler goal line interception, that's 3 times he could have not won a Super Bowl ring. And even, the 2 games against the Giants, even where they beat that undefeated team. And then looking at, Terry Bradshaw had 4. He played with arguably the greatest defense we've ever seen with the steel curtain for a decade. And even Montana played with Jerry Rice. So, Patrick Mahomes, he has Andy Reid, who I believe is already 62 years old. He may have 4 or 5 years, and, he could easily just retire. Travis Kelce isn't getting any younger. And you have got, even Chris Jones, they're having, I think, some, negotiation disputes with him. So you're going to have guys who are going to, at some point want to go play elsewhere. So, looking at all those aspects that go into that, he's definitely worth the money. But as far as, getting Super Bowl rings out of it, I don't see him winning more than, 2 over the course of his career.
I definitely think he was worth the money. But when I first saw the contract, of course, I was surprised like everybody else. But once that's the hype settled down and the all, I immediately thought about, I think I texted you and I asked you, I wonder what the guarantees are. And I think like a day later, the guarantees came out. So he only has $141 million in guarantees over 12 years. So that's not a lot considering the size of the contract. And it's only 63 million was guaranteed at signing. And one interesting thing I found today was that the 63 million includes his signing bonus, his base salary for the next 3 years, and his 2021 and 2022 roster bonuses. So that's what the 63 million incorporates over the next 3 years. And so after that, essentially after 2023, it's essentially like a year-to-year deal. If you look at the cap hit, it tops out about 59 million. That's in 2027. But in terms of like signing bonus money, he doesn't have much after that. And his average base salary over the terms of the contract is only 12.3 million. He's making more money in roster bonuses than he is in actual salary. And his average roster bonus per year is going to be around 31 million. So, like I said, he's making more money as a bonus versus just base salary. And I think he talked about making it a team friendly deal, which is I think that's in more cases than not, most former players and media tell the players, go get your money. Because like you said, Pat Mahomes, 5,000 yard passing season, 50 touchdowns, won an MVP his first year as a starter, got a Super Bowl, went to the AFC Championship game twice. So he has plenty of accolades already. He's only going to get better as time goes on. But, I don't think he's going to win, maybe one or two more Super Bowls, like you said, like you mentioned. And I think an interesting thing in the contract is that he gets $1.25 million every season that goes to the Super Bowl. And he gets another $1.25 million if he wins MVP. So essentially, to get all of his incentives, he would have to go to the Super Bowl and win MVP every year to get the extra $2.5 million, and that's not happening. It's not happening. So I mean, I think it's an interesting contract. The money, 5.3 million. You look at that number, you're like, wow. But once you study the NFL, you learn about the game, you realize it's mostly about guarantees. And he didn't get as much money in guarantees as I thought he should, or I thought he would have gotten. But I mean, it's good for him. If he's cool with it, I'm cool with it. And I guess it was good for the team apparently. So I think he took less guaranteed to form a better team around him, which I understand. Tom Brady did that. You know how that turned out. But he also had Bill Belichick, like you said, the entirety of his career. Andy Reid is 62. So, like you said, 4 or 5 more years, maybe. I don't know how old Eric Bieniemy is. Maybe, he could fill in when Andy Reid retires, but I don't even know how old he is. So, if he's
he
around
might get a job elsewhere.
yeah, so if he's around the same age as, Andy Reid, then he's not going to be there much longer either. Travis Kelce is already 30, if I'm not mistaken. Tyreek Hill's going to get older. Sammy Watkins has already, fell off physically from what he was when he first entered the league anyway. So, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. The Honey Badger's, 28, 29, something like that. Chris Jones with the contract thing. You got Frank Clark. He's going to get older. So, it's going to be a lot of moving pieces over the next 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, I'm excited to see, what's going to happen going forward. I think they'll be in the thick of things as long as he's healthy. I think next year they'll probably be in the AFC Championship game again, unless barring injury or something happens. I don't know how Cam's going to turn out this year. Deshaun Watson may shock the world with the Texans. You never know. We already know. I'm pretty sure Lamar's going to be there. That's what we're thinking, unless he gets hurt. So it's going to be interesting to see things shake out in that conference, in that division.
Right. And I think you hit the nail on the head too, with the team friendly aspect. I think if you look at two quarterbacks in comparison, you have either the Aaron Rodgers route or the Tom Brady route. Like you said, Tom Brady learned early on, like, if you're taking up majority of the team's salary cap, that's going to hinder the team from being able to build and put the proper pieces around you. Or, as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, while he does have his one Super Bowl ring, he's consistently always been one of the highest paid quarterbacks. And, he's kind of had to suffer the consequences of that because they haven't really, been able to put much talent around him, even though I know that does probably mostly go on the organization. But, like I said, I think he, has decided to go that Tom Brady route with that team-friendly aspect. But, Like you said, this is a 12-year deal. I'd be interested to see if he even plays out the full 12 years in Kansas City. I mean, anything can happen between now and 12 years from now. Because, I mean, even looking at the past 12-year deals, none of those guys played out the full, duration of those contracts. Because, it's just unheard of. But barring injuries, he's definitely, probably going to be the greatest quarterback in the league, for at least the foreseeable future.
I think one thing me nor you added was that we don't know how the cap is going to be affected going forward the next couple of years. I was watching First Take today, and it's to mention that they might borrow from future caps in order for for the cap this year and maybe the next couple of years to be set in a certain way, because COVID is affecting everything. So we don't even know if there's going to be a season right now. So I think that's something interesting going forward too, in terms of the cap the next couple of years. And so, and when you look at the cap number the next couple of years isn't that bad, considering what the cap could possibly be. So I think that's something that that's interesting to pay attention to.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind.
But man, as you mentioned earlier, Pat Mahomes is by far in a way the best quarterback in the NFL. Arm strength, spectacular plays, consistency, statistics, production, all of that makes him the best. But there's still some great quarterbacks, and particularly in the AFC, there are some young guys. You got the veterans in the NFC. But Quinton, what quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes, what quarterback would you want to lead your franchise?
If I had a choice and Mahomes was off the board, there's no doubt in my mind I'm taking Russell Wilson to lead my franchise. Russell Wilson, I feel, has been one of the more underrated quarterbacks throughout the duration of his career. I feel like up until now, recently, he's just starting to get a little bit more love, but I still feel like he's pretty disrespected, on a broader scale. But, just looking at things, Russell Wilson honestly has saved Pete Carroll's career. Before Russell Wilson came, Pete Carroll, we all know what happened with him at USC and how things panned out there. But he had like 3 losing seasons, I believe, before Russell Wilson came to town. And then, ever since Russell Wilson's came, they haven't turned back. I think I mentioned in the earlier episode we did, Russell Wilson's actually the second winningest quarterback this decade, behind only the GOAT Tom Brady himself. I think the thing that happened was Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, early on in his career, they had a run-heavy offense with beast mode. That was offset, by the Legion of Boom on defense. And, I think Pete Carroll has, struggled with evolving and has been constantly trying to copy that formula. And I think it's just now getting to the point where he realizes, he has the second most talented quarterback in the NFL right now. And I even take him over Aaron Rodgers, if we're being honest. And, looking at, the offensive line as well as the passing weapons he's had over the years, and it's like they put no resources in those areas whatsoever. I mean, of course, now you got Tyler Lockett, who's, one of probably the best slot receivers in the NFL. They went and got DK Metcalf last year in the draft. And they also, signed Greg Olsen this offseason, even though, he's aging a little bit, but, he's still productive as a tight end. But up until then, other than guys like Golden Tate, Doug Baldwin, I mean, which of those guys are striking fear in the heart of a defensive coordinator? I mean, nobody really. I mean, man, it's been ridiculous, honestly, the way he's had to carry that team the past few years. But, I think if he had an offensive line, if I was to have him as my quarterback, first 2 areas, I'm definitely getting offensive line because he gets hit way too much, in my opinion. I think I saw last year, he was like the 3rd most hit quarterback in the NFL, behind only Matt Ryan and Ryan Fitzpatrick. And you know that does come with some of the scrambling and things like that he does. But you know you have to also look at it. He's scrambling because one, they can't pass block, and two, ain't nobody getting open. So you know, like I said, I'm getting offensive line and some weapons. So you know, and Russell Wilson's never been a guy to have any drama surrounding him. We all know what he does on the field. You know, he's like a Houdini in the backfield. He just, you know, always manages a way to escape pressure. Trust me, I see it twice a year as a 49ers fan. Uh, so I definitely would go with Russell Wilson as my franchise quarterback.
You know what? I really can't argue with that, but I got to go another direction. I'm going with what Dabo Swinney called the Michael Jordan of football. I'm going with Deshaun Watson, man. You know, 6'2", 220 pounds. You know, an electric playmaker. You know, Houdini, escape artist, tough as
That's Russell
nails.
Wilson.
Tough as nails. You already know, a leader of men. Usually when he steps on the field, the best player on the field. Listen, I mean, he's had a couple injuries. He's had 2 ACL tears. He's had one at Clemson, and, you know, he had one his rookie year. So that's a little concerning. But he has been able to play 38 out of a possible 48 games in his first 3 years. One thing that concerns me is, you know, the offensive line has been equally as bad in Houston as it has been, you know, during Russell Wilson's career. And he's been sacked already 125 times. And Russell Wilson, he's been sacked 347 times, but he's played 8 years. So he's already got sacked a third of the times, you know what I'm saying, in less than half the time. So that's alarming. But like I said, he's tough as nails. You know, he completes about 67% of his passes. He has 9,000 pass yards and 71 touchdowns, only 29 interceptions. So he takes care of the ball. Has a quarterback rating of over 100 and a QBR of 71. If you don't know what QBR is it's a scale of 100 to 50, 50 being average. So he's well above average in terms of quarterbacks. He has 8 fourth-quarter comebacks and 10 game-winning drives. So he's clutch, and he also is a dual threat. He has over 1,200 career rush yards and 14 touchdowns. So, you know, he can do it all. Has a 24-13 record in the regular season. And let's be honest with you, outside of D-Hop, he hasn't had much offensive talent either. You know, he had his first 1,000-yard back last year in Carlos Hyde, and he barely cracked 1,000. Carlos Hyde is not even a member of the team anymore. So, you know, and he had an inconsistent Will Fuller and injured and inconsistent Will Fuller as his number 2 receiver. His tight end was, you know, Akins and, you know, Darren Feller. I think that's his name. If I'm not mistaken. I can't even think of their names. The defense has been so-so. They gave about 24 points per game last year. The defensive backs of the Texans are terrible. Outside of J.J. Watt, they really don't have much of a pass rush. Whitney Merciless shows up sometimes. Bernard McKinney is decent, but he's about the only good linebacker they got in linebacking core. You know, Bill O'Brien has proven, even though he wins games, I don't believe he's a great coach at all. I think he's dysfunctional. He has poor time management skills, as we've both seen. And you know what I'm saying? He's just a baller. And he's played 3 playoff games. He's 1 and 2 in the playoffs, and he raises his play in playoff time. So during the regular season, he averages about 274 total yards a game with about 2 touchdowns a game. He ups that to 346 total yards in the playoffs with 2 touchdowns a game and less than half a turnover. He only has 1 career interception in the playoffs. So it lets you know he's making plays and he's taking care of the ball. So, you know, and think about his age. He's only 24. And so Russell Wilson is 31. But, you know, when it comes to quarterbacks, you know, Russell Wilson's probably going to give you another 7 to 8 years of elite production. So, you know, you can't go wrong with that. But I'm taking Deshaun Watson. Like I said, playmaking, toughness, you know, grit. I'm pretty sure I feel like he can carry a team. I think Russell Wilson has started to carry Seattle these last few years as they've relinquished the reins to him on offense. But, you know, when I looked at Russell Wilson, you know, his the 2 years they went to the Super Bowl, he really wasn't that impressive. He was really more along for the ride. I feel like he was more along for the ride, but the team was more run-oriented. I mean, I will admit that they were more run-oriented. But when you look at his numbers, he only averaged about 213 passing yards a game, about 23 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. So, you know, and their defense was all-time great. You do know that Beast Mode was a monster. He's one of the best backs in the league during that time. So, you know, we can't act like during those 2 championship runs that he was just the Russell Wilson that we know today. Actually, in the playoffs, during those two postseasons, he only averaged 212 passing yards a game and completed under 60% of his passes, bro. So we can't sit here and act like the 2 times they went to the Super Bowl that he was just this electric playmaker because he wasn't.
I'm going to stop you right now.
No, he was
I'm going to stop you right now. I'm going to stop you right now. Jimmy. Okay, look. So you brought up his passing yards, right? How many pass attempts was he getting a game?
Listen, I didn't look that up, but I looked at the numbers, bro.
When Pete Carroll running the archaic offense, how many passing yards he's supposed to throw for?
I mean, you could throw for more than 212 a game. Come on, bro.
If you only throwing the ball 15 times a game.
He was throwing it more than that, bro. Come on now.
Bro, come on, Jimmy.
We both watched the games, man.
Jimmy.
Come on, bro.
You know Marshawn Lynch was running the ball 40 times a game.
That's a lie. That is a lie. He was getting
that number inflated a little bit.
He was getting
but you know what I'm saying.
Bro. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
Jimmy. Come on now, bro.
Michael Jordan of football, bro.
Who?
I know you saw them highlights last season. Deshaun Watson leaping over defenders, saucing people up, making dimes down the field. Come on, bro. Deshaun Watson, bro. Come on, man.
Did Russell Wilson not just finish second in the MVP race?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. But I was just making sure. What was Deshaun Watson? I don't know. Give Russell Wilson DeAndre Hopkins.
But let's not act like he had a better team.
Give Russell Wilson DeAndre Hopkins.
Outside of D-Hop, the Seattle Seahawks had a much better team than the Texans did. They had Chris Carson, who's a 1,000-yard back.
Injured.
He got injured like the last game of the season. Get out of here.
Exactly, man. When it mattered most.
Come on, no.
They had their third string running back. They brought Marshawn Lynch out of retirement, Jimmy.
But think about the other two games, though.
He came off the street.
I don't care about none of that, man. Listen.
Russell Wilson was playing with dudes off the street.
Outside of the Texas number one receiver, Seattle had a far better team in every aspect. Except
Russell Wilson's starting tackle was a converted tight end, bro. A tight end, Jimmy.
But he had Dwayne Brown at left tackle, who's a Pro Bowler.
Who was also injured at the end of the season.
I mean, Laramie Tunsil won the best tackle in the world last year. They right tackle was a rookie.
Better than a converted tight end.
But listen, Deshaun Watson literally had to ride the bus to a game because of lung issues, because he was getting slapped in the pocket. Bro, I don't want to hear that.
And Russell Wilson don't.
Russell Wilson ain't never had a major injury. He didn't do it.
Because what they tell you.
Russell Wilson, he doesn't get – when he runs the ball, he doesn't get hit. He gets hit in the pocket. Deshaun Watson get hit in he gets hit in the pocket and he gets hit on the run, bro.
Well, whose fault is that? Yeah, exactly. I'd rather have a quarterback that know how to protect himself when he run the ball.
Listen, he still got sacked 300 times. He's already been sacked 300 times, though.
Like I said, give Russell Wilson DeAndre Hopkins and watch what happens.
Well, if you're going to give him DeAndre Hopkins, then give him the Texas running backs, give him the Texas O-line, and give him the Texas defense and see what's going to happen. And give him –
that'd be worse than what the Seahawks got.
Get Deshaun Watson
time. No, that'd be better. That'd be better than what the Seahawks got.
Give him Deshaun Watson, DK. Give Deshaun Watson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Greg Olsen, Chris Carson, Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, and those guys. No, bro. No.
First off, he ain't have Greg Olsen last year.
Okay, but now he has, bro. I'm talking about
Chris Carson was nowhere to be seen at the end of the season.
Outside of Greg Olsen, the tight ends are about equal. I mean, you got Jacob Hollister.
I was about to say, and he was a converted fullback.
Man, listen.
Dude was an H-back playing tight end.
Bro, give me Deshaun Watson, bro.
Come on, Jimmy.
Michael Jordan, the football.
Come on, Jimmy.
Jordan need to sponsor that, man.
Pete Carroll cost my boy Wilson a second Super Bowl ring. I don't care what nobody said.
Yeah, he did do that.
Thank you.
Like
I will say,
at the time,
Deshaun Watson got arguably the worst general manager in the whole NFL. How you not get DeAndre Hopkins? How you not get a first-round pick in return for the second best receiver in the NFL is beyond me.
Bro, he gave up an open bag of chips with a Twizzler to get DeAndre Hopkins, bro. Like, dude, don't even bring it up, bro. It just made me mad all over again, bro. You expect
Hey,
Deshaun Watson to win with that? At least you got Pete Carroll and good management.
hey,
Here, bro. He lit it. Man,
hey. At least he got David Johnson, bro.
don't make me end this call, bro. Being foolish.
David
Man, like I
Johnson.
said, man, give me Deshaun Watson, the Mike Jordan of football, man.
Yeah. Mike Jordan don't blow a 24-0 lead. Case closed.
Hey, I mean, you can't just put that on Deshaun Watson, though. The rest of the team contributed to that, too. I
Man,
blame it. Anything
if it wasn't for injuries last year, it would have been 49 the Seahawks in the NFC Championship game.
But listen here.
I guarantee you that.
Anything wrong that goes with the Texans, bro, I blame Bill O'Brien. Deshaun Watson.
Oh, don't forget. With that third string running back and Marshawn Lynch off the street, the Seahawks was 2 inches away from beating us last week of the season. Let's not forget that. And that was all because of Russell Wilson.
Okay, that's nice. But listen, anything Deshaun Watson can throw 6 interceptions a game, I'm still gonna blame Bill O'Brien because he's just that terrible. Like Bill Belichick said himself, great players can't overcome bad coaching and bad management. Remember that.
I'll give him that.
Remember that.
But Russell Wilson also can't overcome bad coaching. Let's call it how it is.
Outside of that one moment.
Let's call it how it is.
Outside of that one moment. And those 2 years before Russell Wilson.
Why are the Seahawks still running the ball 30 times a game?
Listen, bro. You can have bad philosophy.
Let's think about this. Who do you want with the ball more times in the game? Chris Carson or Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson.
Okay, then. But Chris Carson getting the ball more.
I understand
Why?
I understand the commitment to running the football. I don't agree with it because you got Russell Wilson. But, I mean, listen, if that's his philosophy, that's his philosophy. At least he has a philosophy. I don't even think Bill O'Brien got a philosophy. It's just Deshaun Watson.
Run the team into the ground.
Man, Deshaun Watson, go make magic.
That's his philosophy.
His magic is Deshaun Watson to go make magic on 3rd and 22. That's his philosophy.
Hey, Russell will do it too. Don't act like Russell won't.
Man, let's move on.
You just seen it with your 2 eyes, Jimmy. I know you know better.
Let's move on, man. Let's move on. We're still sticking with the NFL here. But earlier this morning, after scrutiny, the Washington Redskins officially retired their team name and team logo. Quinton, what are your thoughts on that, and why do you think it took them so long?
Yeah, man. So I don't know about you. I didn't really have too much to say on this topic. But you know, like I said last week, this to me was long overdue. You know, I always thought the Redskins was probably the most offensive name amongst all sports. Along with their logo, you know, you had the Cleveland Indians also. But you know, like I said, I think what finally put the nail in the coffin, you know, you had the combination of our social climate, like I said, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, things of that nature still going on, as well as, you know, you had the big time companies, Nike, Pepsi, and, you know, FedEx, who were threatening to cut ties with the team. You know, Nike, like we said, threatening to pull merchandise off the shelves. I think FedEx is the stadium sponsor, if I'm not mistaken, FedEx Field in Washington. And then, like we said, Pepsi also. So, you know, that's a lot of money to be losing out on over a team name. So if I'm the owner, I'm definitely immediately changing it. But, you know, now that's only a step of the process. You know, it's not completed yet. So now, you know, all eyes will be on the organization to, you know, see what the new name will be. You know, like we've said, we've heard suggestions on, you know, it should be something, you know, related to the African-American community. And I agree with that as well. Or if not, you know, something representative of the nation's capital. So either one of those options would be cool with me. But like I said, all eyes are on them now to see what the new name is.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, there's not much to really add here. Like you said, it should have been done. You know, that was the team name for 87 years, which is ridiculous. But I'm glad, the current social climate and the combination of big sponsors, forced them to change the name. And the one thing I found interesting, though, is that they could face a trademark battle with a guy from Virginia. His name is Philip Martin McCauley. He's trademarked most of the possible names that they could go with. The Warriors, the Red Tails, the Monuments, the Arrows, the Veterans, the Federals, the Founders, the Freedom Fighters, and the Red Tail Hawk. All of those names are trademarked.
Time out. I didn't know about this. Did he do this recently? Like once the name stuff came out?
Yes, like the last few weeks, bro. He literally just filed a trademark the Red Tails on the 5th.
So what, did he not want the team to change their name or something?
Well, I don't know. I actually, when I first woke up, the news broke early this morning. And so I saw something on Twitter. I think Will Brinson was his Twitter page. And he had a screenshot of all the trademark names that they thought about going with. And like a lot of the names that we talked about and we've seen on TV last couple weeks, it's trademarked, or copyrighted, or whatever you want to call it. So that's funny. It's real. I find it real funny. So, I don't know how that's gonna work out. Like if I'm that guy, you got to pay me to get the name.
That's probably exactly why he did it.
Pay me. I would definitely like to see them go with the Red Tails. And I saw, we both have seen the concepts for the jersey designs, and I like it. It's sleek. It's a nice design to it. I think it'll sell. I would even buy a jersey just because it's the Red Tails and it's some Black history. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We talked about that. I discussed that last week. The history of the Red Tails. So I like to see him, do what they got to do to get. Unless he wants like an obscene amount of money for the name, then I want to see them go with the Red Tails. I really want to see it.
They're probably not trying to pay that dude.
I think I want to say, the team owner or general manager mentioned that they were trying to go away from anything that was related to like Native Americans. So something like Warriors or something like that. I think they want to go in a different direction for something like that. So
Okay.
We'll definitely keep an eye on it. I think everybody anxious to see what the name is going to be.
What was the color scheme of that uniform? I don't think I've seen it. Was it like the same as the Redskin?
Yeah, okay. Same color scheme. They just had like some wings on the collar part right here, like some gray wings.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I saw like a gray design earlier. You can probably find it on Twitter. I'm sure you can find it on Twitter, but I saw a gray design earlier. I was like, that's nice. But if they do change the design, they definitely gonna have some good jerseys. I'll tell you that.
If they looking good, I might have to go and cop that Chase Young jersey.
I'm at the cop that scary Terry. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, I'm telling you, Washington, Ohio State 2.0.
And once again, Jerry, if you happen to see this, call Washington to see what they want for Terry McLaurin. If they want Amari Cooper, go ahead and send him.
Y'all already got Zeke. We don't want no more of that Cowboys poison on our Ohio State players.
Get out of here, man.
Well, we don't need that.
Quinton, let's move on to our last topic of the show. So, earlier today, Rajon Rondo is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks with a broken thumb. Quinton, how much would this hurt the Lakers in their championship hopes?
Man, first off, I don't know what's up with Rondo hurting his hand. I don't know if you remember, but if y'all didn't know, before now, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. The year he played with us, we got to the playoffs. We were beating the crap out of the Celtics. And dude hurt his hand. And now here we are again with the Lakers. Same situation. But, with the timetable, I don't think it's as significant this time, especially considering it wasn't smack in the middle of the playoffs. I think looking at the timetable, he's on schedule to be back as soon as the second round of the playoffs, and I think, conference finals at the latest. But I think this injury will actually help the Lakers. We already know they lost Avery Bradley. So, the guard position was already looking a little thin to begin with. But, with Rondo specifically, this season, he was already at his lowest minutes, points, and assists since his rookie season. And, it essentially boiled down to his best attribute was probably his veteran leadership. And I mean, he can still do that from the sideline with a cast on. But looking at the Lakers now, they got Alex Caruso. Quinn Cook may get some increased minutes. Still got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They signed Dion Waiters during the season. And then we already know they brought the Hennessy guy himself, J.R. Smith, out of retirement. So I definitely think the guard position is something they're going to have to keep stable by committee. I wouldn't personally play any of those guys listed more than probably 25 minutes a game. KCP, Waiters, and JR, they do all have, that ability to maybe get hot for one game. You just never know with those guys because they're all wild cards. But I think those guys could arguably fit better with LeBron than Rondo did. You got Quinn Cook. He's a career 40% three-point shooter. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, while he was wildly inconsistent, he shot a career-high 39% from three this year. Dion Waiters, the gummy guy, he was – albeit only 3 games this season. He was shooting 47% from three-point range. And we know J.R. Smith has a history of playing with LeBron. His years with the Cavs, looking back at it, those years of his career, he was shooting the most three-pointers of his career. I think that's something this Lakers roster, definitely lack was some perimeter shooting. But like I said, I think Rondo's absence will definitely allow for the Lakers to, find some more reliable contributors, especially once it comes playoff time. I don't think for the Lakers, these 8 games, they're definitely not going to be really important for conference standing. I think it's more so going to come down to, chemistry and, finding what the rotation is going to look like come postseason. But, with those options, I don't think scoring will be a problem. Avery Bradley and Rajon Rondo definitely weren't just, world beaters with scoring. But the question marks are probably definitely going to be defense and playmaking. Avery Bradley, he was a, good perimeter defender. You could stick him on a point guard. He had that gritty, tough attitude. And then, like we said, with Rondo, his playmaking, and, also his statistics have also typically gone up during the playoffs. He's earned the name Playoff Rondo for a reason. I think one year with the Celtics, he put up like 40 on the Heat, if I'm not mistaken. Even though I will say he was only averaging like 5 assists this season, but that was, in his lowest minutes of his career. But, just his ability to get the offense in plays and things like that, that's definitely going to be sorely missed. And, LeBron James, he was already the best point guard in the NBA this season. But I think that just puts more playmaking responsibilities on his shoulders.
You know what? That was the first thing I thought about. I wasn't really, I wasn't hurt about it. I was like, oh, dang, Rondo out. That's about as far as it went. But I immediately thought about, secondary playmaking abilities. Like, who's going to run the offense while LeBron James isn't on the floor? And, like, he's only playing 20 and a half minutes a game, but it's giving you 7 points, 3 boards, and 5 assists a game on 42% shooting from the field, only 33% from three-point range, and 66% from the free throw line. So he's not a great shooter. He's never been a great shooter. He's your traditional point guard, but he can't shoot. But like I said, playoff Rondo is a different animal. Last time we saw playoff Rondo was in 2017 with New Orleans, and he was putting up some monster numbers, alongside Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis. But I'm not really. I don't think it's just a lack of secondary playmaking. That's all. Quinn Cook is listed as a point guard, but he's more of an off guard with his shooting ability. Alex Caruso played some point guard in college, but he's not. He's more of a 2. We know KCP is like a 2-3. Same thing with Dion Waiters and Honcho Henny and J.R. Smith. But they may even fit better with LeBron. With a 3-point shooting, spacing the floor. But I think the thing we'll be lacking is a secondary, offensive initiator. I think that's what we'll sort of be lacking. Like I said, we also losing, Avery Bradley. So that's about 45 minutes of playtime gone is to point guards. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Lakers are going to feel, those 44 minutes. So, that's what I'm anxious to see. But I don't really think it's going to hurt us that much. He'll probably be back around like second round of the playoffs. So, hopefully, we can get him back then and we can ingratiate him back into the offense because he's a veteran. He knows how to play. He knows how to create offense. He knows the system. So I don't think it's going to hurt us that much.
Yeah. I think if one thing, it probably, that lack of perimeter depth. If they do end up playing somebody like the Rockets or something, I think that's a place that could, probably some question marks. And then, also with Anthony Davis, he plays better with somebody who can, create for him and, allow him to do what he does best and finish at the rim. Which, like you said, him and Rondo, that playoff series against the Warriors, that pick and roll was deadly. And then also, I think looking at it too, if it were personally me, before I said I'd start Caruso, but if, with Rondo and Bradley being gone now, I think you start LeBron at the 1. I think you put Danny Green at the 2 or 3. And I think you put KCP in the starting lineup. I think he's the guy. Yeah, I think he's the guy I trust with more minutes. Albeit Caruso does play well when he does play, and he plays well with the 2 stars. In an extended amount of minutes, I just don't know how he'll hold up, especially on the defensive end. And then I think, of course, AD and JaVale at the center. But I think that lineup is probably the best bet for the Lakers. But like we said, those 8 games, give them some time to, experiment and, figure out who's going to be in that lineup come playoff time. They might even start J.R. Smith, but I highly doubt it.
Honcho. You know what, bro? I don't. When I see KCP get in the game, I'm always scared.
That's how I felt about Rondo.
I never know what KCP is gonna do. Like either he gonna ball out or he gonna be absolutely terrible. Like it's no in between. You know what you're gonna get with Rondo.
Yeah, he gonna make the team worse. I'd rather go 50-50 than just knowing he gonna make them worse during the regular season anyway.
Throw Honcho Henny in the starting lineup.
I said so that he probably just won't be conditioned for that yet.
Yeah, but man,
put him out there, James Harden.
Man.
Man,
but
ISO every time.
But hey, man, is there anything else you want to add to the show?
Man, I think that's all I got. Once again, thank you to everybody who continues to tune in with us. We do appreciate the support from you guys. Truly do.
I want to add, Black Lives Matter forever and always. Support Black women, protect Black women. They are our queens, man. So, Black women, if y'all listening, we love y'all. We support y'all. Continue to fight for y'all.
Salute to the Black women.
Absolutely. But that's all we have for y'all today. No doubt. That's all we have for y'all today. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us and continuing to support us. And thank you for tuning in to episode 17 of the First and Foremost podcast. And I'm Jimmy Covington.
One and only, Quinn Douglas.
We out. Thank y'all.